thanking Kenny Clark for the 9 years he was with us. What an exceptional player, exceptional person. Really hard to see him go, but there was really no way around it. That was the one thing that was going to be part of this trade no matter what for them. I also want to thank the Dallas Cowboys just for their professionalism through this, and our organization as well. I just think some of the times these things are very hard to keep, under wraps as you work through them. And I think, again, very, very thankful for them, and then our guys as well as we navigated through this. So, with that, I'll take questions.
Brian, you mentioned Kenny Clark, the first-round picks, obviously with money. What does bringing in Micah signify for this team?
No, I think, obviously a player like Micah, and he's very unique and very rare is it that they're available, right? So as this kind of came together, it was just one of those things where it was a unique opportunity for us, and it was going to cost, right? There was going to be some expense with it. But we just kind of thought it was the best thing for our football team, and we're excited to get him. We're excited to get him out there and get him with our team so that he can get up to speed as fast as possible.
Obviously, you weren't here when they signed Reggie, but I'm sure Ron was here. Obviously, did they ever talk to you about what that meant? And is there maybe some parallels with Micah being?
Yeah, I don't think there's really any parallels to that at all. I mean, again, I wasn't here, so it's hard for me really to compare that. Different time. I think the Packers organization was in a different space at that time. So I can't really comment on that. Mike is his own man, and he's going to forge his own path here. But I think he's going to be a really, really good fit for our locker room, really good fit for our team. But that was a little before me.
What do you think he can give you guys in 9 days when you play a game?
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to see, right? He's just getting through the physical right now, and we'll have a chance to get him out there Monday and see where he's at. Certainly, I think we're hopeful that he'll help us in some form or fashion in the opener. But I do think it's on us to be smart and make sure that he's ready to go.
These talks were happening at this time of the year, not like before the draft or something like that. How did that kind of impact the negotiations, and did it help your cause a little bit, do you think?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Not really sure. I mean, I think obviously when the draft's coming up, there's a deadline, and that certainly sometimes can spark things, so to speak. So this one was probably a little bit more drawn out than maybe right before the draft or in those days. So, but again, very thankful to the Jones family, Jerry and Steven, for the professionalism as we work through it.
I imagine Jeff Hafley's pretty happy, but as far as the players and the building, what type level of excitement and what does this do for the organization?
Yeah, no, I certainly when you bring in a player like this, I hope there's some excitement. There's probably some bittersweet things going on as well because Kenny was such a well-liked guy in our locker room. But these guys want to win, and they know this is an opportunity to help us to win football games. So I'm sure there'll be some excitement. The timing was a little bit different because they were kind of out of here before all this kind of went down. So. But they'll all come back on Sunday night and be here Monday for practice. And again, I think hopefully they're going to be focused and it's more business-like approach. But again, Micah's production in his first 4 years in the league, sure, and he's very well known. So I think our guys will understand why we did this.
How would you describe Ed's role in this?
Ed Policy? Oh, super. Just a lot like Mark, very supportive. Certainly with a move like this, it's certainly something that I would let him know that we were going down this road. When we're signing practice squad guys, we don't do that. But with something like this and the magnitude of the financial part of it, let him know that we're going down this road and make sure that the organization is prepared for it. And Mark was exceptionally supportive during my time with him, and Ed was the same in this instance.
Deals like this they're a double whammy with the trade and the big contract. What are your thoughts about taking that plunge?
Yeah, I think again, I mean, it's picks and the financial part of it. That's always a lot. But at the same time, like I said, this is a very unique player that rarely becomes available to us. So a little bit like X and Josh Jacobs. Again, there's just not a lot of these players at this point in their career where their best football is ahead of them that become available. And like I talked about on, I guess it was Wednesday, every opportunity that we have to improve the football team now and in the future, we're going to take a look at. So certainly this was something we were going to take a look at. And then, we're just fortunate enough that we were able to get it across the finish line.
Did you, if I remember right, it was about this time of the year that you went through this with Khalil Mack, back in 18, right, your first year? Negotiations at this time of the year, did you learn anything from that played into this one, or similar in any way?
Yeah, Rob, that's a really good question. I think for me, and it was a little different, and I think for what I learned from that experience is you kind of got to be in early. I think you can't. With Khalil, it was kind of one of those things. I felt like after that went by that we were in it a little bit late. I don't think it would have changed the outcome of that back then, but I think for me this one was. I think I just felt like if you're going to be in on something like this, you're going to have to be in early.
Brian, at defensive tackle with losing Kenny, how do you feel about the remaining players in the room? Is there any opportunity to maybe add another player to that room still before the start of the season? Yeah,
I feel really good about the group. We obviously have a couple of unproven rookie players that haven't gone out there and done it, but man, they've really done a nice job in camp so far, and we're excited about them. But I've felt all along last year with TJ and Kenny here that Carl and Wooden and DY, I just felt that they probably needed more reps and deserved more reps, but obviously they had two really good players in front of them. So I felt we were deep, and obviously we've lost a couple of guys now going into this season, but I'm excited what those guys that have been here will do, and then I'm interested to see also what Stackhouse and Brinson bring to the table as well.
Bookend edge rushers are such a valuable commodity in this league, and it's hard to get to. How important was it to you to retain Rashawn in this deal, and what do you think he plus Micah can do together?
I know it was really important. Affecting the passer in our game on defense is everything, and to be able to have two guys, proven guys that have done it multiple years, feed off each other. I think I'm excited to see what Half can do with that. I think we've over the past few years we've really increased our speed on defense. With Edge and Quay and Bull in the nickel, and certainly Xavier in the back end. So I think we've really increased our speed, and I'm excited about that. And Lucas Van Ness as well.
Were there points in your talks with the Cowboys where they said he's not available, and then did it take a little while? At what point did you believe that he was available? Yeah,
I'll keep most of those details in my conversations with them between us. But, I think, the chances of these things kind of happen are pretty slim, and I kind of think that was my mindset the whole time. I was going to keep the conversations going because of the uniqueness of the player. But I don't think it was really until the last few days that I actually thought, hey, there's an opportunity here to really to close this thing out. So, and in fairness, I've been through a bunch of these that no one's ever heard of, but that's how it goes. You talk, and then you really realize it's really not an opportunity. So when the opportunity kind of opened a little bit, you really thought that this could happen. It was pretty exciting, and we kept in it.
Have you thought much yet about how this affects the next two drafts, and what do you think it's going to be like on that last Thursday in April the next 2 years?
Yeah, I was teasing the guys. You guys just wanted a couple days off, and so for Thursdays, but I did really like it when it was just Saturday and Sunday, the 2 days. It was much better. But no, I mean, you guys know how we feel about picks here and how important they are to our football team. So to make this move, certainly you can understand what we think about the player and how he's going to affect our football team. Again, those drafts are a little bit of ways. Who knows what can happen between now and then, and where we'll sit with picks, and whether we're picking on Thursday or whether we're not. There was a lot of conversation about whether this was the right thing to do as far as giving up those picks, only because we covet them so much. But again, there's just not very many opportunities to acquire a player like this.
So why does that mean? Because you talk about value during the draft process. Does that mean that your evaluation of this player over 4 years equals as much as 2 first-rounders in order to make that mention, financial aside?
Yeah, I think when you're dealing with you're trading picks for a player and giving up a player, it's a little bit tough. When you're just giving picks for picks, those values, you can use those numbers and things like that. I think every team is different. There could be times that this might not make sense for some of the teams we've had in the past, but for our team right now, I felt that this was an opportunity to make us a little bit more diverse in what we want to do on defense. And again, it really comes down to the player. I mean, these guys just don't, these opportunities to acquire these players just don't come around. Not only a talent like this, but one who's proven in the league, whose best football is ahead of him. I mean, it was a very unique opportunity to acquire a player like this. In my time, there hasn't been very many opportunities like this in the past. And so, again, I think it's our responsibility to make sure that we entertain that and see if it's possible.
Who, if anyone, did you seek out to, that maybe had been around Micah at any time to talk about?
Again, I'm not going to go into details of who we talked to and conversations, but certainly there's been people around him in his pro career that we have close ties with. And then certainly, we put a lot of time, as you guys know, into the scouting process. So a lot of our information comes out of that. But in Dallas, there was people that we were close with that have had a lot of time with him.
Financially, how difficult is it going to be to build a roster when you have Jordan at the top of the market and Mike at the top of the market, and you've got some other obviously really good guys too? No,
Bill, that's a good question. I think, first of all, I got to give Russ Ball a ton of credit because really the blood, sweat, and tears were a lot of him on this contract. But a lot of the work, I mean, he did a great job. I really like the 3 years cap numbers, the first 3 years. I think that's going to give us the flexibility that, with a lot of the really good players we have coming up, that we're going to be able to still be able to keep those guys. But there's no doubt when you acquire a player like this who's going to take up that much of the cap that you're going to have to make some choices. You always do, right? But I really, looking at it right now, the cap numbers for 25, 26, and 27, I think are pretty solid for us, and we'll kind of see where that goes.
Brian, you said a few times now that these moments are rare. I'm curious, yesterday when it was finalized and you knew it, just on a human, emotional level, like what went through your mind? What was the joy like? And did you celebrate this last night?
Yeah, I mean, we celebrate when we sign a practice squad guy, right? So we enjoyed everybody up there enjoys the job. But it was a little bittersweet. I mean, because as soon as we got to a certain point, I knew I had to call Kenny, and that is a really, really tough phone call for a player who has put so much into our organization, our team. That's always tough. But at the same time, our job is to make those decisions, and we felt we made a good decision for our football team. We'll see. We've got a long way to go. It's a team game. We've won no game so far. So we got to get him in, up to speed and into our scheme and see how that fits. But no, I think again, like I said, it was a unique opportunity to add a very unique player, and we were excited about that.
In that regard, having made this move right before the start of the season, just how do you feel about what you have as a roster and what you put together compared to maybe other seasons?
Yeah, I mean, again, this move was not just for this season, right? I mean, it was for multiple seasons, and. But no, I feel good about our roster. I felt great about our roster before this happened, right? So I think we have a very good team. I think that they got a long way to go to become the kind of team we want to be. But I think that potential is there. And I think adding Micah is just one of those things that can help that. And again, I'm excited for the season. A lot of work ahead of us. And we'll see where it goes.
Will Van Ness play more inside just to get him on the field?
I think that remains to be seen. I mean, he's always been able to do that, and we've been doing that with him. We certainly want to get Lucas on the field, and I think I'm sure Jeff and his staff are drawing up some very creative situations now that our personnel looks like it does.
Kind of along the lines of what Steve just asked you, is this a sign of where you think you are organizationally, that this is the guy who can get you across the finish line? You obviously have a bunch of really good teams. You've had some bad luck and whatnot that's prevented you from getting there, but is this the guy that?
Yeah, I think you might ask me the question on Wednesday about one player away. I don't believe in that, so I don't. Again, I do think this guy's going to add to our football team, and I think he's going to certainly help us win football games. But I think that I just don't really believe that one player puts you over the top, so to speak. I've never believed in that. But the biggest thing is going to be these guys coming together and putting their individual goals aside and deciding they want to win.
The internal conversations that you guys have throughout this process, how quickly does that go from you having the thought of I'm going to reach out to just see where this is at to collectively, internally having those collaborative in this conversation?
Yeah, the internal conversations with my personnel staff is we talk about these things all the time and bounce things off each other. It's very important that I do that with those guys because those are the guys who are going to tell me that actually understand the value of what we're giving up. I mean, most of the guys, most the coaches for sure. I mean, they're looking at the Detroit Lions and yeah, this guy can help us. So absolutely, we want to do this, right? But those guys in the personnel room, they understand, what we're giving up. They understand the long-term ramifications and the short-term, not only with the team, but with the salary cap. And they're not afraid to tell me when they disagree. So those conversations are extremely important. And then once we kind of get through those is when, maybe I'll start reaching out if that's what we decide to do. Yeah, I mean, I think these conversations, again, it wasn't a big group of people that we were talking to because we kind of wanted to keep it as quiet as we could, but very, very important as we made this decision.
You said it's hard to keep under wraps. To Bill's question on Wednesday, had you already reached an agreement on the trade parameters when I was blabbing on about bold moves?
I'll keep those details, in the conversations. We had the framework of what it might be, even way before that. But again, there was so far to go, and before that could be a reality. That and again, I mean, to be just fair and honest, I mean, it was these things rarely happen, and there's a ton of times you go through these conversations and you have frameworks and structures of how you're going to do this, and it just doesn't come to fruition. So it's kind of one of those things that we were hopeful, but see how it goes.
And then you said, and again, I understand you're trying to keep a lot of the details to yourself, but you said you got to get in early. You knew he was disgruntled down there for a while. So can you at least give us an idea of how early is early?
I think we. I mean, again, just fairly early.
Right.
Fairly early.
Right when he requested a trade.
Fairly early. Yeah.
Ryan, there was a note from Jerry yesterday at his conference that Kenny practiced yesterday. As you're going through this, A, did that happen? And then B, is there a nervousness and angst from you of if something happens to Kenny in practice, all of a sudden maybe this deal falls apart?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. He did practice. It's certainly something I thought about a lot. I don't know if you can live that way, He might have been limited a little bit. But I don't know if you can live that way. Kenny was a big part of our football team. There was a very good chance even then that he may end up playing for us against Detroit in week 1, and he needed to practice. So, those are tough decisions, but to hold a player out of practice for a maybe, that's just not something I was willing to do.
Going back to that draft in 21, obviously you were way down at the bottom and he went 12th. Did you study him a lot at the time? What did you think of him then? Is he what you thought? Is he better than you thought?
If you guys remember, he didn't play. I don't know if he played at all that last year before he came out. I don't remember exactly why. But anyway, he was a stand-up linebacker, right? That's what he was coming out. And I did go to the pro. I was at the pro day. And that's where, the athletic traits, they jump off the tape with everything he did in college. At the pro day was the first time where someone really put him through some, serious pass rush drills. And on tape, he'd come off the ball, he'd blitz, and he'd rush a passer, and you could see that. But the pro day was the first day they really put his hand in the dirt, and they did a lot of drills where you just were like, you saw 2 or 3 reps, and you were like, well, what else do you need to see? It was one of those just rare things. So I think everybody kind of knew that when he came into the league, he was going to do some rushing the passer. And I think his first year, he kind of split time almost equally, standing up and rushing the passer, and then he just kind of started moving more towards just a pass rusher because it was so valuable, But yeah, I mean, we scouted him really good. I mean, those guys are fun to watch, even though you may know that's a pretty unrealistic chance you got a chance to take him. But when you see the great ones, you like to watch them, So.
Hey, Goody, we're not going to burden him with the Reggie White comparison. I understand that. But your fan base is really, really excited, obviously. You remember being a student at Eau Claire or at
Oh my gosh.
at lacrosse?
Eau Claire? Come on, I got way more.
Don't piss
At
us off.
lacrosse, when that happened, do you remember that?
No, to be honest with you, when I was in college, pro football was really the last thing on my mind. I love college ball. I remember when in '96 when they won the Super Bowl, I might have been studying, but I'm like, what is all this noise? Why are people so excited? And there was the whole campus was going downtown to the bars. I'm like, what's going on? I never really followed pro football until I interned here too much. So I was just a college guy. My dad was a college coach, and that's what I followed. So yeah, no, I didn't. I mean, I knew who Reggie White was. You know what I mean? He was one of the best players in the world. But yeah, certainly didn't follow the Packers back then. So.
You mentioned the physical and obviously being smart with week one. Is there any at all concern with his back?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously he's doing physical right now, but I think we feel fairly confident that that's certainly not a long-term problem. You know, it's something that he'll work through pretty quickly, we would think.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Going on around here? Isn't it a holiday weekend, Rob? Shouldn't you be out at a basketball or a football game or something? All right.
So you seem to be in a good mood.
I'm always in a great mood, aren't I?
Not always. What does this mean to your team? What does this mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, what a rare opportunity to get a guy of his caliber. Now, I will say, for me, it's extremely bittersweet because Kenny Clark, since the day I was here or got hired here, I want to say I think he's the last guy that was on the roster when I was hired. Now I know we drafted Elton and Rashawn, but I'm really thankful for our time together because he is a pro's pro. Obviously a great player, and as great of a player as he is, I believe he's an even better person. And I think you guys probably feel the same way in terms of just he is going to treat everybody with the utmost respect. And he is revered in that locker room. And so it is bittersweet when you lose a player, not only of that caliber, but just the type of leader he was for a locker room. But at the same time, certainly, you know, like I said, it's just rare that you get an opportunity to get a guy like a Micah Parsons.
Mike is really talented. He's also really versatile. There's a lot of things he does very well. What's the best, in terms of role, the best way to maximize that talent and versatility?
That's a heck of a question. I think there's, obviously, I don't think there's much that he can't do. It's just how do you get him acclimated to what we're doing, and then you can kind of let the creativity come out. I think I got a lot of confidence in Half and our defensive staff that we'll be able to put him in positions to maximize not only his ability, but everybody around him. I just know from having a game plan against him, that is something that keeps you up at night when you're going against a player of his caliber. And now we feel like we've got a lot of other pieces around him that it's going to be that much more challenging for our opponents.
You joked coming in here about us being here, and it's a holiday weekend, but what, does this change anything for you and the staff trying to figure out how you're gonna line them up and you implement on all those?
No, I think more than anything, we got to get him here. We got to see where he's at. You know, he hasn't, I don't believe he's practiced. So we got to be very calculated with how we deploy him and just the number of snaps that he's going to get. And I think the first part of that is you got to assess the situation, and in order to do that, you got to have some sort of physical movement.
And what was your sort of role just in this whole process with Goody and those guys?
I was just a cheerleader on the sidelines. So, no, he talked to me, obviously, I don't want to get into timelines, but early, before anybody ever even knew this could have potentially come to fruition. So, and, you know, I was like, heck yeah. I mean, these opportunities just don't come about.
You said, I think after this past season, that you originally wanted to just rush the traditional 4, but you guys obviously had to change. Does this allow you to get back to that?
I'd say so, yes. I think it just gives us a lot of flexibility with what we want to do. And I think Half and our staff have done a great job of, you know, like I've mentioned many times, that you come in with a vision of, hey, we're going to get after them with our front 4. You're going to play coverage. And then I loved the evolution, I would say, of our defense last year in regards to being able to deploy a lot of different fronts, which makes it more challenging for opposing offenses to game plan against when you're not quite sure and they have everything. But it just gives you so much flexibility. Do you want to? I mean, this guy's played off the ball linebacker, and it's rare that you get a defensive end that can go inside and play linebacker or go inside and rush. So he's obviously he's got to have a great football mind and capacity to learn in order to be able to do all those different things.
What's your comfort level with the guys you have now with defensive tackle, with Clark gone? Some guys are going to have to step up. What's your comfort level with those guys that remain there?
Yeah, very confident. I feel like just in our conversations, that's one thing Goody and I talked about is, you know, we had 6 guys on the inside on our roster, and I also think there's situationally, there's other guys that you can kick inside as well. So I think you can never have enough edge rushers in this league, and that's a premium position. Not to say that the guys inside aren't; they certainly are as well. But we feel pretty confident with the depth that we have there. I think the growth that we've seen from guys like Carl Brooks, Colby Wooden, then we got the 2 rooks inside there. Obviously, Devontae Wyatt. We feel confident with that group.
Just in terms of the value of pass rush, is that kind of the focus to really maximize Micah as a pass rusher coming off the edge, or is it more to unlock the totality of his game and the other aspects as well?
Can you say that one more time?
Well, I'm wondering, obviously pass rush, like you said, is a premium position. Is that the focus to really maximize him in that area, or is it almost, because he is so versatile, almost an underservice to really focus on that aspect and not all the other things he does?
Well, yeah, I think the one thing that, he can wreck a game in a hurry. And I just know going against him and having a game plan, especially when you're talking the pass game, you just got to be very, very careful who you're putting on them and just what type of protections you're doing. Matter of fact, I just ironically watched our Dallas game earlier today, and just some of the havoc that he was able to create. And luckily, we had our running back bailed us out a couple times from some potential game-changing plays that, where he just made us look silly up front on a couple of plays. So this guy is super versatile, and just can change the whole complexion of your defense.
How do you take on the expectations with this? I mean, I don't think you're sneaking up on anybody now after this trade. What is that going to be like, just carrying that this whole season?
I feel like that's always the expectation around here. I feel like since the day I was hired. So you just approach it no different than we have in the past, trying to be your best each and every day, trying to get a little bit better. It's a long year. There's a lot of variables that come into play throughout the course of the season. And certainly it's just how well you stick together in the tough times and just kind of ride the wave. But as far as expectations, that just is something that comes along with being a Green Bay Packer.
Putting your game planning hat on, what was the challenge of game planning against Parsons? And then the other hand of it, now that he's on your team, what does that do for the rest of your defense that, week one coordinator, whoever's got to go stop Parsons, and what does that do for your defense then?
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge. Anytime you got a premier edge rusher, it's a big-time challenge. First and second down, are you going to play action pass? Do you really want to only have one guy on them? There's a lot of different hoops you got to jump through, and then you don't know where necessarily he's always going to line up. Is he going to line up inside, outside? That's where it gets really fun, I think, for our defensive staff, and becomes a real challenge for you offensively, because, like I said, he's made a lot of people look really bad, and he wins so fast, and that's the thing that you really have to account for. Is just how fast he can get to the quarterback.
Obviously, Rashawn's been good, really good at times. What does this mean for him then? No one's gonna be able to double team Rashawn anymore, right? So what can this do?
Well, yeah, now you got to pick. There's certain situations too where this is why I think the flexibility with your front is so important, because if a guy lines up at defensive end all the time, then you can find a guy and have your tight end or receiver, whoever, your back, and you can make sure you chip them. But when you couple them with a guy on the outside, on the other side, now to your point, Bill, you got to pick your poison. What do you want to do? Are you chipping both sides? Well, if you are, now you're not getting as many people out in the route, at least not initially. So it definitely kind of flips the field in your favor.
You said you happened to be looking at the Dallas tape. Was that because you were getting ready for Dan Quinn and Joe Witt and doing some advanced stuff for that game, or did you just want to look at the guy you just had?
I just wanted to watch him.
Thinking about fit, this guy coming from Dallas to Green Bay, a couple of days after that game, he publicly said, I think on a podcast, that he was impressed by Jordan Love and the game plan that you guys had against him. And 6 months ago, he sat down with Jordan in an interview, right? So how much of those things do you pick up and say, this guy would fit in here with us?
Well, when guys have relationships with other players around the league, you always, especially when you're going through the process, you always ask, what do you think of them? My first exposure to Micah was at the Pro Bowl, was that the 21 season? And I was really impressed by the guy. Matter of fact, we were joking about it, like the majority of the players in the Pro Bowl, I think it's well known, that's why there's not a Pro Bowl game anymore. The majority of the guys looked like they were going through the motions, except for one guy. He was trying to wreck shop out there, and he was trying to win. And that's one thing, just having relationships with other coaches throughout the league that have worked with him. They'll tell you this guy's the ultimate competitor, and if you're whatever it is you're playing, he's going to want to win. And I don't think he's very apologetic about that, which is so exciting as a coach. To get a guy like that, and I think that just elevates everybody around him.
What's the acclimation process like for Parsons to get up to speed with Hafley's defense on the fly?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of time spent together, I would say, and a lot of one-on-one time to try to get them up to speed as quickly as possible. But I think more than anything else, I'm confident that will happen quickly. But we just got to see where he's at physically before, we put him out there and he's playing 70 snaps a game.
If your defense winds up becoming dominant, does it change your philosophy offensively as to how often you attack and things like that? Do you have to think about those kind of things?
Well, I think every game you kind of go into with a game plan, a blueprint, so to speak, of how you can best win the football game. So I don't want to just speak in absolutes up here. I'm sure sometimes, yeah, certainly it could change the way you go about it. But I think we just want to try to score as many points as humanly possible, get a lead on somebody, and then just let the front go.
Matt, how do you feel about Micah as a run defender?
I feel very confident about him.
Few more, please. I asked Brian this same question, but one of the joys of your job is you get to coach great players. I'm curious, how did you find out yesterday that the deal was done, and at that moment, what goes through your mind in getting to coach this guy?
Well, I mean, it's extremely exciting to get one of the premier players in the National Football League on your team. And like I said, just having gone against him a couple times and watching him compete and just the havoc that he wrecks, it's a nightmare going into a game like that because you're just seeing these highlight reel plays that happen pretty consistently. So it was very exciting.
Did you mention the impression that he made on you at the Pro Bowl to Micah? Does he know that story?
No, I haven't sat down and talked to him about that yet, but it was a great impression.
Matt, I know that Micah and his family are here. What was it like just finally having him in the building and getting to meet him, his family, talk to him?
I met his family, and I talked to him for about 3 or 4 minutes before Waller's made me come in here. So I'm looking forward to sitting down with him and getting a little bit more in depth with our conversation.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Hey, appreciate it, man.
Has it sunk in yet that you're with a different team?
Yeah, man. I think it sunk in a little bit for me yesterday when I was going a little crazy with the fan, but just being in here and taking in just the facilities and everything and the welcome, I think I'm pretty honed in and really know what I'm about and pretty aware of everything.
Got a number picked out yet?
Yeah, number one. Number one. I'm going with number one.
Could you just, over the past few days, what's this process been like for you? And when did you kind of realize I'm going to be a Packer?
Yeah, once I found out about, the agreement and came down to negotiations, at first it was like, obviously like anyone, I got kids, I got, a house, I got family that all moved down for me. And it's a change, right? And I had to sit down and talk to my family about this potential opportunity, and that's when, I got the chance to speak, with some other guys in faculty about what it could be like if I decided to come here. And, once I got that comfort zone and they said, and, I got to talk to Rashid a little bit, that's my guy from Penn State, came in together. This is like, it's like Penn State, like it's like home, like this is like a brotherhood, like it's safe, you focus on ball and, we keep everything the right thing. It kind of gave me comfort and it kind of gave me a better decision, like, okay, this is the place where I feel like I can take my next step and continue to have a great legacy here.
Micah, did you have any say in where you could go or where you might go?
Nah, I didn't have any say. It was just, I would say I'm pretty lucky because I understand the rich history of the Packers and the fact that they had interest in me and understand that they had a pretty tough team already in the NFC and I was pretty much geared up, ready to play them, looking for revenge. But now I'm on the other side of adding to this rich history and being able to play with these guys and suit up and, play. I'm very excited.
Where are you at physically, and what's a reasonable expectation for what you can do next Sunday?
Well, I'm going to I think physically, I'm great. I think I can contribute a lot. I'm going to team up with the doctors, creating a plan. We already talked about how we can ramp things up and get me into a flow where they feel comfortable and I feel comfortable. But, my plan is to be here. They didn't give up what they gave up for me to sit on the sidelines and make this big of a, risk and change for me to do that. So I'm finna give my all.
Michael, what's your relationship like with Jordan Love, and was the podcast the only time he tried to recruit you here?
Oh, man, I don't think it was ever like a serious conversation because, even me, like many of us, I never thought I'd be traded, But, that's the harsh reality. But, me and Jordan, we're super close, I would say. Obviously, having the same agent, me and Jordan been together in Dubai and, through the podcast, Super Bowl weekends. So we got a very good relationship. He's somebody I know that, we're very competitive when we're around each other. So I know what type of quarterback he is. I'm very fond of Jordan, too, just about, the quarterback he is and what he can be and how he just keeps getting better.
You said you never expected to be traded. How does it feel now to be in this position?
Honestly, everything happens for a reason. It's a blessing in disguise. I may not have that answer for you yet, but I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to work hard every day to prove that, the Packers organization made the right decision and trusted me. I'm going to carry that with me.
There's something that you and Jordan also have in common besides the agent. You guys have both had success in this league and are still kind of looking for that ultimate prize. You got to see this team up close a couple of years ago. How much are you just anticipating the opportunity to win here, and how much is that on your mind?
Oh, man, winning is everything to me. I don't think you're going to find a more competitive person on the team or anywhere in the NFL when it comes to anything we do. We could go out shoot hoops. We could go out there and throw a baseball, see who could throw the hardest, whether it's miles per hour. We could go run 40-yard sprints. I'll wait till you get tired if you're faster than me. I don't think you're going to find someone that's more competitive. So when you talk about winning and the stage of what it takes, I haven't been there, and I don't know what it takes, but I got a funny feeling that, a lot of this history, this program does. They went further than us, and obviously they had a big win against us, and I trust Coach LaFleur. And, I really feel like, we can do it. And like I said, I really want to win real bad.
What have your conversations been like with Halfley, and what's the plan look like for the next week to get up to speed in the defense?
I'm gonna meet with him Monday. Actually, we're gonna meet a little bit when I come in on Sunday. Obviously, get a little bit ready, but he says he got a lot planned for me. I don't know what the scheme look like. I just got my iPad today, so I'm gonna look over it, and I'm super excited, man. I know about his creativity. I heard a lot. Obviously, I don't watch their defense a lot, but I'm excited to learn. I'm excited to get better, and be a dominant player for him.
Micah, in your social media video after the trade, you had some Reggie White clips interspersed into it. A, why was that important to you? But B, is that the kind of guy that you're chasing to be I mean, obviously you're all pro, but a legendary Super Bowl winning, all-timer kind of guy?
Yeah, 100%, bro. Reggie is like one of the GOATs. I mean, I'm just looking at his stats, and the fact he had like 70 sacks in like 5 years is just like outrageous to me. And this guy's just like this freak, and I didn't even know. I just learned more history about him today, just about how he's the first free agent and how he came here and won championships. And yeah, people make the comparisons, but I just looked at him like somebody who won. He came here. He can do that. I think I can do that too. I think I can do anything I put my mind to. I looked on that wall and I saw Brett Favre. I saw Reggie. I saw all those legends, and I was like, I gotta be there. And you go near the draft room and they're all having their hands up and they having that moment. I'm looking for that moment, and I'm going to take advantage of this moment and maximize it to reach that moment.
Micah, do you have a preference in how you're used? You were used differently in Dan Quinn's, defense than you were in Zimmer's, where you were just had your hand down a lot. Do you have a preference you like to move around?
Yeah, I love to move around. I think that creates just the matchups that we like. Because let's be honest, man, it's hard to get to the quarterback in this league. And you got to run favorable matchups. So when I get that opportunity of not getting double teamed, I got to win that matchup and I got to take advantage of that and get pressure on the quarterback. Or else, it's kind of easy for a team to kind of program, say, hey, he's always going to be a left side. So that's why I like to alternate. I like to go, sometimes I want to be on the right side, sometimes I want to be on the left side. I just try to maximize my game so that way I can't be limited or schemed against. I pretty much I'm cool to drop, show up, come in over the A gaps, come over the B gaps. So I'm really valuable in every which way. I think I can win at any spot on the field. It's just about, am I going to be put there? And, that's the type of guy he has.
Mike, I think we all saw the video of you and your mom kind of sharing that moment. Can you just bring me through what that meant for you, especially, everything you've already been able to accomplish?
Yeah, my mom, she's probably the hardest working person I ever met in my life. And it's hard for people to even compare, just seeing how I grew up, seeing, all her work, her struggles. And, obviously we had a conversation when I was a rookie, but I was like, money don't last long. Let me see if, we get to the next one, because that's the most important one, because she was like, I don't want you to, be dependent on you. I'm going to kind of wait until see how you do. And even now I say, you can stop now. She's like, nah, I want to finish my years. Like, you got to understand the type of person you are. So just to take that relief off her shoulders and say, you can stop putting your years in. And I seen her work since I was a boy. So that's 26 years and beyond that, because my brother's 30, working 3 jobs, 2 jobs. Now she can just chill out for a while. And I told her, before, I was like, because she was like, I can help you with your kids. I was like, you just want to travel a little bit first, like see the world, like see some of the things that God gave us. And she was like, I might do a little bit, but, I'm happiest when I'm around y'all. I was like, you sure you want to live with me? And, like you even want to be around me? Like, you want to go off to Tampa somewhere, get on the beach? Like, you like water? Like, you want to do something like that? She's like, nah, I want to be around. So that's the type of person she is. She just loves to be a grandmother. She loves to be a mom. And she's a hardworking person. So the fact that I can make her emotional and, throughout this process, she was worried about me, She was scared for me. So, now that she's worry-free, that means a lot to me.
After the playoff game against Green Bay, I remember your comments about it seemed like you were impressed by Jordan Love and the game plan that they had for you in that game. So even though this has been something you could have never predicted, weeks ago, is this sort of in the back of your mind, like, well, that could be a destination for me?
Yeah, now I look at it just like, I kind of already knew how the offense was. I think LaFleur is one of the best, coaches in the game. Just seeing how he schemed against me, how his plan was, how he dialed everything up. And you would say, and they had like a stat, I'm a football junkie too, how, Golden's like the first receiver they took in the first round. So you look at, what they had around, it's not like they were drafting Julio Joneses or Odell Beckham Jr.'s or Amari Cooper's, and, how they're getting creative and getting guys open and beating coverages. And that just shows a lot about Jordan's intelligence, whether his, pre-snap reads, coming out post-snap reads. So I kind of knew what it was like, when I was like, all right, this is a guy I could be playing with. So it kind of made me excited because I know if they score points, I get to rush a little bit more.
Did you have that sweater before you got traded here?
Yeah, I had this for a while. I don't buy clothes no more, so it's kind of like Adidas or whatever's in the closet.
Micah, how do you feel about the buzz? Like, have you run into any fans as of yet, or just seen stuff on social media, like basically saying, hey, this might be the missing piece to where these guys want to go, all that stuff?
Yeah, like, when I'm like you guys, like, when it came out that, I possibly was going to get traded, I was kind of like, and, I'm right on socials like you guys, and I see, I'm like, man, then I see Packer Nation kind of going like crazy. And, like, I never really knew how crazy the fan base was and, like, how excited, this fan base gets. Obviously, I played here before, but you don't really take it in, especially with Dallas fan base. They're pretty intense too, but, just seeing the fan base and how they're, like, all encouragement and excited, and they couldn't wait to have me here. That means a lot. I carry that on my shoulder too, like, this isn't just for me. Then understanding the history about no owner and how this is all fan and everything gets poured back into this, that means so much. So, I'm going to carry that, and I know they're part of the 111th now too.
You mentioned seeing that wall of legends outside the locker room. What have you been able to see since you landed here today, and what's been your first impression of being here?
Honestly, I don't know what to expect. I never had seen anything outside of Dallas. And, Dallas is pretty nice itself, and I'm looking around like, whoa, this is nice as it gets. And I'm super impressed by the facilities, the lunchrooms, the meals they prep for us, the training staff, the dietitians, everything that they're offering. As a player, I feel like there's no reason to look for anything outside the building, and that's you can't say that about a lot of places. You talk to a lot of guys around, they feel like they have to bring in chefs or things like that. Nah, these guys, they literally pouring everything into this building, and that means a lot. So I'm very impressed, and I'm excited to get to work.
And Mike, going back to LaFleur and to your competitiveness, he was telling us earlier that you made a pretty big impression on him at the Pro Bowl, being as competitive as you are and everyone else kind of maybe taking it easy. How did that go over with the other players? And did you realize the impression you were making on Matt when you were being that way?
Nah, I don't realize it because I'm just myself. You'll realize as I'm here, I'm probably one of the most authentic person you meet. I'm going to say things I probably shouldn't say off emotion, and that's just me. I'm going to do as I like because that's just me. All I know is go, and I don't feel like if I feel like you can't be around me because you're not on go too, we probably shouldn't be friends or probably be in the same room. So I just don't be around you. So I think in terms of all our twisted minds of being elite competitors and a guy that's like, well, this is I grew up, watching Sean Taylor in the Pro Bowls, and I'm like, we're in pads, it's best on best. Let me see what I can do a little bit, So that's how I take advantage. So all I know is go. So, if he likes that, that means we're just one of the same. And that's a good thing. That's kind of what I figured of him. And that's why I got a pretty high standard about him.
A few games before this, but you're going to be going back to Dallas pretty soon. Just how do you envision kind of that return, what that's going to be like, the atmosphere and everything?
Well, obviously Dallas got to do what they got to do to get to week 4. We got to do what we got to do. I see no easy games. I see the Lions first on Sunday, what I got to try to get ready for, and then I see the Commanders on Thursday night. So I see 2 games that got some of the most, elite offenses in the NFL before we get to Dallas, which I know is another elite offense after seeing them all in camp with CD and Pickens. So, I got to focus on that one first. But when it comes to week 4, we'll be ready. And, we're going to prepare the same way we had the previous weeks.
Well, you've made a few statements, but, through this last 4 or 5 months, is there anything you want to say to your Cowboy fans today that, here you are, this is your next chapter?
Yeah. To Cowboy Nation, really just thank you. Like, I don't think people realize, I'm a very simple man. It's all about principle with me, and it's all about, the love and authenticity. And, for me, just a kid I never left Pennsylvania pretty much until I got drafted. I was a Harrisburg, Pennsylvania guy to Penn State, and the moment I got drafted, I had a second home. And they welcomed me, they opened their hearts out to me, they poured into me. That fan base is one-on-one. So thank you to the fan base, thank you to all the players that I played with. I'm gonna miss my dog Seven. That's like a brother to me. There's a lot of people that I got close relationships with over there, and I'm gonna miss them regardless. Overshown, that kind of like really, you don't realize how people, and I told Overshown this, like you don't realize the impact people have when you see their determination, the resilience, the keep getting back up factors. And these is both guys who had knee injuries, and I saw that just work so hard, and you just want to pour back into them. So, I wish, things didn't have to be like this, but, I'm happy for this opportunity. I'm happy to be here, and, I'm ready to win some games.
Mike, did you talk to, before you left, did you talk to Jerry, Steven? Did they tell you that you were being traded, or was it all through David?
It was pretty much all through David. You know what I mean?
Mike, you said that you're a football junkie. 2 first-round picks, a premium player, a huge contract that comes across on that trade. What type of expectations come along with that for you?
Yo, I'm not even gonna lie. There is a lot of expectations, and I'll be a fool to not think that there isn't expectations or there isn't pressure in the position that I'm stepping into. But then again, that's a blessing in itself. That means that they believed in me that much to put that much. They believe I'm that much of a future in this organization, and they showed that in every which way. So that just alone just shows me the type of person I need to be in this building every day. And I'm very determined. I would say these last 4 months have been probably the hardest 4 months of my life. And, my family's saying, you're acting different, because it's hard. When you're the soldier of the family, it's hard to say when you're unsure yourself. It's easy when, you could just go to the store and buy the groceries and know there's going to be food on the table. But if you can't go to the store, how's there going to be food on the table? And that's kind of how I felt. So, but during this time, it just made me stronger. It made me more mentally stronger, that I can get through anything. And it just showed me that, whatever happens, you can't really control it. And that all you can do control is every day. So when y'all say, how do you feel physically? I was working every day, pushing myself. Even when I couldn't be out there, I had to do it on my own. And I took that at my own right to say I was going to do that. And I pushed myself every day. And so I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be here to win games. And I'm going to push these guys to do what we have to do to prove this organization was right about me.
Your dad did a TV interview yesterday, and he talked about your history with the Harrisburg Packers. Can you take us through that?
Yeah, man. So growing up, I started off as a Harrisburg Packer, and it's kind of like, man, and just being here as a Packer today, it's like life always comes full circle for me, and I don't really know why. I think God has His hand over me more than I could ever ask for. So, shout out to Coach Ham. That was the first person to ever make me believe as a Harrisburg Packer that I could be special. And I could be different. And, in life, we don't know what comes with being special and different until we're actually in it. So, shout out to Coach Ham. And, being a Packer now here today, it's an extreme honor and a blessing.
What'd you play back then? What'd you play back then?
I was a running back. Yeah, y'all gonna see. I got skills, man. If I ever get a turnover, we going to the crib. I gotta get a Lambo leap, man.
You talked about how hard the past 4 months have been. It's been a lot of waiting just to find out what might happen. When you got that call from David yesterday, what were you doing and what was that moment like?
I was actually I was leaving treatment from the facility, leaving treatment. And I told Dave, I said, bro, I told him that day, I was like, man, I don't know what's going to happen, but I need you to get something done soon. I have not played football this long since I was in 7th grade, and I was overweight. I was so overweight that, I just took a massive growth spurt in 7th grade that, I was in them weigh-ins before the game, and I had to take the whole 7th grade year off. And I ain't play again until 8th grade, and I played freshman football. So I was like, bro, you need to hurry up and get me on the field. Like, you need to get me moving. Like, I don't really like this waiting game. So the fact that, I feel, bro, y'all don't even understand how relieved I feel. I told Rasheed, I said, bro, just go ahead and get ready for your best practice week, because I ain't put my hands on somebody in so long, and I'm just so ready to get out there. Like, y'all don't even understand, bro. Like, it's miserable when, like, you missing the thing that you love. Like, because this is what it's about, right? We play it because we love, right? And, bro, just missing that. Like, my getaway, I'm just holding everything in. Like, workouts is cool, pushing yourself cool, but just actually playing what you love. That's like watching your big brother just play Xbox all day and you never get to touch it. You just get to see it. Like, that's kind of how I feel. I got to watch everyone get better, get, faster, learn the system, do everything. But I couldn't be out there, and that kind of hurt me more than anything.
What did you do during that time, to keep your mental in a good spot? And, when you weren't playing football, what did you do during that time?
Bro, I relied on a lot of family and a lot of, scriptures. Like, my mentor sending me scriptures, a lot of God, for real, like praying. Like, mom calling me to pray, uncle calling me to pray, a lot of family calling me to pray. And, they just praying that God, take this off my shoulders. And he sure did, because when I got that call, like, there was nothing he couldn't tell me, bro. I ran out the building. I'm like, bro, I'm on my way home. When they want me there, you know what I mean? Like, it's time.
So you called him yesterday and had that chat. How long did it take for him to call you back and say, okay, it's done now?
I called him at like noon. He called me at like 4:30. He said, we're almost done. He's like, be patient. I was like, Dave, hurry up, bro. Like, I'm trying to, get ready and take this next step. Like, y'all don't even understand how excited I am to be here. I hope they understand the type of player that's going to come into this building every day to get better. And I understand what Kenny meant to this organization. I never want to try to replace him. I just want to try to sustain the standard that he left here and his print that he left, and same just like the other prestigious guys that came through this program.
Does your talent bring a responsibility to be a leader, or is that just who you are anyway?
I think both. I think just as, like, if you're going to be the best player, you have to find ways to lead. And I wouldn't say I'm the most vocal guy. I'm a guy that just wants to go out there and run through somebody's face and make some plays. But as I kind of grew up and I kind of was able to sit back and be a teacher for once, and show guys things and be that on the field, I think, allowed me to see a different side of myself that I think I can add here now.
Michael, were you, last one, given how it felt to watch your brothers play Xbox, basically, were you starting to worry that this stalemate was not going to get resolved? And, I mean, the Cowboys game is not that far away for them, their opener. Like, were you starting to worry that you were going to have to take this farther than you even wanted to?
I was. And it's obviously not what I wanted. I think, throughout my career, I played through so many different obstacles and things like that. Like, every opportunity is a great opportunity. That's kind of how I look at it. And I did not want to be in a position where I was missing opportunities, not only to feed my family, but like I said, the brotherhood. Like, them guys wanted me on the field as bad as I want to be on the field. They look at me as, they big brother. Like, he needs to be out there. I know we can win with him. I know what he can do out there. So, yeah, I was worried about that, but now it's resolved. I'm going to fly in here Sunday afternoon, learn this playbook, and get ready and try to go out there and perform on Sunday afternoon.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you guys. See you guys soon.